Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Combating Cancer. I'm your host, Gwen Kelly. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you. Truly, I want you to know this space was created for you. Whether you're currently in treatment, navigating remission, caring for someone with cancer, or grieving a loved one, you were seen, you were not alone. A little bit about me is that I was diagnosed with stage 3 astrocytoma brain cancer at 19. And ever since, I've been on a journey, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, trying to understand what it means to live with this diagnosis and, more importantly, how to thrive in spite of it. Today, I want to talk about something that's been weighing heavily on my heart: the power of mindset, and more specifically, how easy it is to fall into a victim mentality when life hands us the unthinkable. I'll be honest, I almost didn't record this one. It requires a kind of vulnerability I still wrestle with, but if there's one thing I've learned on this journey, it's this. The things we're most afraid to say are usually the things someone else most needs to hear. Let's start with the question almost all of us had asked at some point in our lives. Why me? Why my body? Why my diagnosis? Why my family? Why is it my life that feels like it's falling apart while everyone else seems to be doing just fine? That's the trap, right? The lie we buy into, that everyone else has it easier, that we're the only ones stuck in the storm. But here's the truth I've had to remind myself of, sometimes daily. We never really know what other people are carrying. Grief, fear, trauma, silent diagnoses, caregiving, financial struggles, marriages unraveling, mental health battles, the list just goes on. Just because we don't see someone else's pain doesn't mean they're not living through it. And that doesn't make your pain any less real. It just means you're not alone in it. For those of you who have been following my story, you know my most recent scans didn't bring the news I was hoping for. And I'll be honest, it really crushed me. It felt like I had just started breathing again and suddenly I was pulled back underwater. I always say it just felt like the other shoe finally dropped. And I remember sitting there just looking at the wall and thinking in my head, why me again? Haven't I done enough? Haven't I fought hard enough? I'm doing all the right things. Why can't I catch a break? And I wanted to scream. I wanted to fast forward through the pain and just be okay. I wanted to quit even for a moment. And if you felt that way too, I want you to hear this. Those feelings are real, they're human, and you are allowed to feel them. But here's the shift. Feeling like a victim is not the same as living like one. You can acknowledge the pain without letting it become your identity. Recently, I recorded an episode with a guest who's also living with a terminal illness, and I asked him a question that's really sat with me. I said, how do you live with the knowledge that this illness could eventually take your life? His response was so simple, yet so powerful. He said, just because they said it's terminal doesn't mean I'm going to die tomorrow. He reminded me we are all terminal. We just don't usually think about it. You could be perfectly healthy and get in a car accident tomorrow. You could have decades ahead of you or days. And none of us really know. So if we can't control how much time we have, we can control how we spend the time we do have. After that conversation, I had a long, uncomfortable talk with myself, and I realized how much energy I've been pouring into fear, frustration, and sadness. And while those emotions are valid, they don't get to control the narrative of my life. Cancer is a part of my story, but it's not the whole story. I'm still Gwen. I'm still a daughter, a friend, a storyteller, a survivor. I make people laugh a lot because I'm really funny. And, I help people feel seen and feel hopeful. I'm not just a diagnosis, and neither are you. It's so easy to compare ourselves to strangers online, to our healthy friends, to who we used to be before the diagnosis. But comparison, it's a thief. It steals your joy. It steals your present. And it convinces you what you're doing isn't enough. So let me say this clearly. Waking up today was enough. Making it through another round of chemo was enough. Getting out of bed, even with tears in your eyes, was enough. Getting through that doctor's appointment, not crying on the ground, but only sobbing silently in your chair, was enough. You don't have to be inspirational every day. You just have to keep going. This journey has given me a perspective most people don't get until it's too late. I know how fragile life is. And instead of letting that scare me, I'm learning to let it inspire me. Even on the hard days, even on the days where I still question why me. I don't understand why this is happening again. And yeah, I still get scared. Every scan, every strange symptom, every reminder that I'm living with something I can't control. But here's what I've learned. Fear may visit, but it doesn't get to unpack and stay. I'll let it knock on the door, but I won't invite it in for dinner and a drink. You deserve more than a life ruled by fear. You deserve joy, laughter, love, purpose. And even in the face of illness, you can still have all those things. Something my dad always says has stuck with me. You're either in a storm, coming out of one, or heading into the next. And he's right. Life is a cycle of challenges, but every storm passes eventually. What matters most is how you show up during that storm. Do you let it define you, or do you learn how to dance in the rain? So here's my challenge to everyone listening this week. Don't let yourself live as a victim of your diagnosis or your circumstances. Let yourself feel, cry, rest. Be honest about how hard it is. Don't bottle it up. But then, once you do all of that, choose to keep going because you're stronger than you know and you're not alone. That's it for today's episode of Combating Cancer. If this message resonated with you, share it, send it to someone who might need it. And if you or someone you love want to share their story, or if you're interested in sponsorship or collaboration, please reach out. My door is always open. Until next Wednesday, take care of yourselves. And remember, we don't have to know how the story ends to live the middle with purpose. Talk soon.